Hello, it's Marsh Engle. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Wow, we've been courageous, we've been creative, we've been focused, and now today we're talking about resiliency. Because as we step back out into the world and stay true to our work, stay true to our path, stay true to taking care of ourselves and to one another, resiliency seems like a great conversation to have. Of course, this is Amazing Woman, Get It Done, all about how can we, as amazing women, stay true to ourselves, bring that balance to our life, bring that creativity to our work. And I love speaking with amazing women, and especially the one that I have with me today, because this is Christine Perakis. And I think I've known Christine we were trying to figure out, I met her at Club Med, a Club Med. Do you remember? I don't know, Cancun, where were we?
Sonora Desert, I think.
Maybe. Yeah. Was I scuba diving? Was there scuba diving there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was scuba diving. I was very much into scuba diving for a lot of years.
And we were both 12.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, 5 or 6 anyway. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I think
you haven't changed a bit.
No, not at all. No. Thank you. Very fine. Very
just wiser. Just wiser. Yeah.
And doing very different work back then. I had a marketing agency, and very different than the work that either of us do today. You're an attorney, you're a published author, you are an executive coach, you do great work in the world, but I'm most excited today about connecting with you on this new book that's coming out, The Resilient Leader, because I feel as though we as women, we as people, resiliency must be a top conversation for all of us, because we've had to call upon it, but we're going to be getting ready to call upon it even more. So I think I just want to start out with talking about resiliency and what does the word really mean to us? What is the energy of resiliency? What does that look like?
Well, Abby, I think the first thing that comes to mind is soldiering on, right? As soon as we think of resilience, I think of, steeling myself for something and just powering through or somehow surviving. But the lessons of my experiences that I talk about in the book, and that was the launch pad for the book, were really, to me, about how do we get to the other side and thrive? That's what I'm really interested in. And that's what the breakdown of that experience was for me to, once I could, I'm a 2-time record-breaking Category 5 hurricane survivor and, endured some very traumatic experiences around that. And, had to survive for a couple of months without electricity, running water, telecoms, cooking gas. And, and to really find a place for myself in the community and to be of service and to figure out how to get through that experience and that round. So there's the storm itself and our own Category 5 experiences is what I call them. What we've all been through, something, a death, a divorce, a business failure, financial distress. And now we're all in a global pandemic. So we're in the midst of a Category 5 and there is going to be an aftermath. Some of us might be experiencing it as we step gingerly out of our homes. Others of us are still in lockdown, and we will get out eventually. And we're going to have to figure out and find our way and hopefully make a bigger impact in the world than what we were doing before. Let's make this work for ourselves.
Exactly. I think early on, I made an agreement with myself, and have spoke very much to the community about this, is how can we move through this and get to the other side even better, even stronger, even more creative, even more dynamic, even more amazing than we were before we went in. And for many of us, that's meant going inward. Some of it's meant I'm writing a book. I'm broadcasting, which I was not doing before. I actually had taken a hiatus from even doing very much coaching. I was only doing private brand development for a select number of clients. And now I'm back doing group programs and streaming broadcasts. We're getting ready to launch an online community that is very excited about bringing us together, that will continue on even after we step back out into the world. So for me, it was, I spent 4 or 5 days really getting my sea legs on this, figuring out, everything that I had in place was not happening any longer. And I think many of us, I don't know any of us that didn't experience some level of upheaval and confusion or fear. And maybe we're still experiencing some of that. So I think the power of resiliency is something that I'm interested in talking about, because I want more of it. I want to tune into that and soak up more of that energy for myself, and then take it out to the community and say, let's do this. Let's lift ourselves together through our resiliency.
Well, I think that we all have a choice point, right? And it's for for you, it was the writing the books and figuring out how to pivot your business, and we a lot of us have those considerations to think about. And for me, it was that moment when I realized that I was trapped in my shelter, that I was no way of getting out. I had no idea how I was going to get rescued, and no telecoms, no communications, no plan, and the panic is starting to rise. And that was the moment I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to learn everything I can from this experience right now. I'm going to get a piece of paper and a pen, and I'm going to start writing down everything that I remember, the things I did right, the mistakes I made, and just every detail that I couldn't do, what I call reefing the main, right? Powering down and preparing for the storm that was suddenly beyond my imagination. I simply had no comparison for, and I'm a professional mariner, right? 100-ton licensed boat captain. I've done time offshore, and still this was bigger than any of us had ever experienced. And it's that act simply of starting something, engaging my prefrontal cortex into an exercise of writing. That was the birth of my book, is the birth of my Category 5 leadership programs. It was truly, that moment was the beginning of my pivot in that particular Category 5 experience. And so this particular time in the global pandemic that we're in, for me, has been extraordinary prolific and very busy in terms of things that are being asked of me, and the way that I feel as though I've been out in the forefront of holding space for everyone else in their Category 5 experience of this. And I think of it as what we're being given is the time and space, as the world has slowed down around us, to find the thing that we need to be doing right now, whether it's, that writing like I did, or creating programs, or figuring out how was your business working, or going back to basics and thinking about what was the thing that launched me into the world, and how did I deviate from that? Let me get back to what works. Or culling the herd of clients that are not really engaging, and really narrowing yourself down to the focal point of people who truly resonate for you. There's many things we can do in the quietness of quarantine, right?
But
And
yes, I agree. And I also know that because I stayed incredibly focused as well, but I also know that there was something very important that I had to do early on. And that was to deepen and structure myself around a spiritual practice, so that I could stay incredibly grounded. And because the fact is that none of us have gone through this before. And some of us don't have access to the creative ideas as readily as others do. And so I agree with you that, for any of us that tend to be highly creative, how can we infuse the energy? How can we infuse the inspiration? How can we support people in tapping into their creativity, and then focusing in on what do you want to create during this time? I also feel like I want to say is that I think the lockdown happened maybe 2 months ago, but that doesn't mean that you've lost time. If today you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I haven't started anything yet. I haven't put any of my time to good use here. Well, you have, because one way or the other, you've been getting clarity, as Christine said so beautifully. You've gotten clarity about what is it that really matters to you. Perhaps you've let go of some of the things that you've been investing your time and energy and your creativity in up until now. And now that leaves a space for you to start something brand new, something exciting. I coach a lot of women who are entrepreneurial, and especially now I'm coaching a lot of women who feel more purpose-driven, and also feel as though it's a bit topsy-turvy about the way they've defined their purpose and the way they're defining the future of the way they want to move forward. So I think that wherever you are, I'm just feeling like wherever you are is the perfect place for where you are. And if you've, landed on your feet right away and you started writing right away, or you started creating right away, fantastic. Innovating and creating something new for yourself, creating a new business structure, fantastic. But if you're listening today and today's the day you decide to commit to stepping out and stepping into the world in a way that's more fully expressed, I know for me, I said early on, I've never felt more purpose driven than I do right now. And how do you feel about that, Christina? It's like I've never felt more purpose driven. And I've been doing this for 25 years. I've been coaching for 25 years. Next year, 20 years, Amazing Women's Day. Our Amazing Woman programs have a 20-year anniversary next year, which is astounding to me to imagine 20 years has passed. But I've never felt more purpose-driven than I do right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, the preciousness of it all, right? That's what we have. And listen, I don't mean to say or leave any one of you with the impression that, oh, I just realized that I was trapped and I started writing my book. It's absolutely not like that, right? It's survival. I have to get through this moment and not end up in a ball, curled up, freaked out, and a skeleton found months later in my shelter, so you're not thinking that clearly. You're taking one step at a time. And the thing that has helped me, I feel, thrive in this particular Cat 5, which was not true back then, right? In my hurricane experience, we were drinking heavily. I was smoking cigarettes. I've never done that before. Whatever it took to get through the emotions. So there's no judgment, right, amongst us fellow survivors, right, of the pandemic or a hurricane or whatever the thing is. We do what we do. And until we're ready to move forward. And so for me, I had practices in place that I think every one of us can take up, no matter what our personal or physical circumstances are, which is some daily thing that gets us out of bed, that puts us into motion. Doesn't have to do anything to do with work. For me, it's meditating and doing yoga and exercising. And so I stay true to that commitment. And I've been getting up at 5 o'clock, 5:30 every single morning during the pandemic. And previously, thankfully, I had a habit of doing that, so that the rest of the day then is mine.
My habit was not to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but now it is. So I don't know what happened, why all at once. I'm a very morning person now, where I was never a morning person. I'm actually a morning person and a night person. So I have a lot less sleep now than I did. And, maybe we could credit that to meditating so that there's less resistance, more energy. I don't know. Maybe my, creativity, the focus of my enthusiasm for supporting this community and supporting women in answering their calls. I don't know what's created that, but I know that a lot has shifted within me. A lot has shifted.
Well, and it's the anchor, right? When you have that kind of practice that you have to get up and do before everything else. I've done acrobatics with my schedule just to make sure I got it all in if I had an early meeting or something early I was committed to. So we know that we have to have these touchstones or these anchoring activities that keep us on point, on purpose, and on focus.
Now, one of the things, I was speaking to one of my friends this morning by way of Instagram, instant messaging, and we were talking about what do we miss the most. And for me, community. I mean, I miss sitting next to you at lunch. I miss being in our circles and in our groups of live events. I miss that so much that, the focus of why I was doing that before, which I've always loved it, but the focus has become more fine-tuned about what it means to be connected that way, what it means to collaborate in that way, what it means to link our energy and lift and encourage one another in that way. And I can tell you that as soon as we can, as soon as we're able to, gather in large events again, I'm definitely, without a question, doing a live in-person event, because I love being with everybody online, but it's not the same. It's nice. It's a filler. It's good. I feel grateful that we have it, and thank goodness we do, because I don't know what it would be like if we didn't. But I really miss that level of connection. What have you missed the most, or what have you seen that you're going to value it at a deeper level?
I talk about building your tribe in my book and how important it's one of the 7 barometers of resilience that I write about in my book. And it's the most important thing that, I was unaware, right? Just like in that moment when I was in the panic rising, I didn't realize when I went home alone the night before, as watching the last weather report and with a group of friends having dinner, getting, we were all complete. Everybody went off their separate ways and I went alone. And I didn't know anybody else. It took me months to realize I didn't know anyone else who'd weathered that storm alone. And we have a loneliness epidemic in this country. And powerful, in communion women like myself, I have sailing communities and hiking communities and groups of friends in pockets everywhere. And, hundreds, thousands of social media connections. You wouldn't think that I would be somebody who would be alone in a record-breaking storm. And here we all are forced into aloneness. Some of us live alone. And so, we are, we're forced to figure out ways to keep communion going. And so I look forward to that as well. Just being able to give somebody a hug, which might even be farther out than when we actually get to see each other or do things that are social. Yeah. And, I did go for a walk with a friend, and she and I had both been in quarantine separately and, not touching anyone. And finally, after spending, this walk time back and forth, I said, "Can I hug you?" And we hugged each other. And she said, "I haven't hugged anybody in 2 months." And that just crushed me, to think about.
Imagine, I know, and I think of it so many that are feeling alone and feeling isolated right now. And I feel like one of the things that also came up for me, which was so interesting, was reconnecting with friends that have been long time, like you, for example. We've been friends for 30 years. Friends of mine that have been even longer than that, when we try to count up the years that we've known each other and reconnecting in that way. And it became something that was really empowering to reach out and reconnect with people that I had not connected with, but yet matter so much to me, but had not, just in the busyness or the focus of where I was, had just let it fall by the wayside. And I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to do that. Yes. That's one of the commitments I've made. And so community, relationships, very, very important now. I think self-care is way up on the list of what we can do to move through this and out into the world, very strong and powerful in our bodies, very present. I've been taking so many classes. I was just thinking today about all the different the range of classes. Okay. So I've taken breath work. One of my friends gifted me this master class, which is an incredible online educational platform, which is fantastic. So I've taken leadership classes, I've taken breath classes, I've taken energy psychology classes, and now guess what I'm taking? I'm taking tutorials on hair and makeup and the way seriously, it's like every class I can think of, I've been taking in the last 2 months. So I think that whatever is of interest, I think it's great to keep our minds super busy. Have you taken any classes, or what have you done that feels like fun?
I think it's my daily stuff. It's the yoga, it's the meditation. I've been sitting in Darshan with a community of people that are global every morning at 5:30. And, that first hour of the day, knowing that there's, thousands, tens of thousands of people together in this program is really powerful and uplifting. So that is, it's not running around happy. It's just really fulfilling. And it's like getting, a complete and total spiritual cleanse that feels so good when it's over. And it propels the rest of my day. And so it's that. And at the end of my cycle of yoga, meditation, and exercise is, sitting for a few minutes in the jacuzzi, and it's early morning hours at this point and nobody's around. And it's just really wonderful to be out in the air and have those times.
It's amazing how we have the level of respect that I think I have for nature now. That's the other thing. I lived on Maui for a number of months, and I felt like I had a huge respect for nature. Now that I've been isolated and away from it, oh my gosh, my respect for nature and how it feeds us, how important and valuable it is to our creativity, how important and valuable it is to our health, has really become present for me.
Well, and look what we're seeing, in New Delhi, they can see the Himalayas. They have peacocks, dancing in the streets. We have, visibility and clean air in ways that we haven't seen in decades in Los Angeles
Mhm.
area and all over the world. Nature is blossoming without us, That's something we don't want to let go of. And I
No.
saw a cartoon strip that said, "Dear Mother Nature, we know you're enjoying this time. Don't get used to it." And I thought, let's all change the way we do things, right?
Mhm.
Let's think about this and preserve what we can from it. Because that's what happens in the category 5 situations that happen tends to bring people together. People go into worship houses or they commune or they're kinder. You hear that a lot about people being extra courteous. And I'm always thanking all the essential workers that I come across in my days. And what I hope is teachers, that we're no longer having to homeschool and they're,
Mhm.
so underappreciated normally. So we have to hold on to these things and memorize these experiences. That's what the writing is for. It's to imprint the experiences that we want to learn from. And I think that's one of the most important things we can do.
I was just listening to a spiritual teacher that I really have a great respect for, and he was asked the question, "Do you think that this will last?" And he said, "For a short period of time, we'll remember
Right.
for a short period." I hope, as you do, that we imprint it. In right now is a good time for us to be having that conversation about what are the new
Yeah.
habits I'm going to implement into my life that are habits that I intend to keep, they're intentions I intend to hold, they're focuses that I intend to really live into, so that it's not about how can I get to the other side? One of the agreements I made early on was that what if this is the new normal? What if this is
Right.
normal? And I'm not going to be waiting for the new normal to come. I'm in the new normal right now. So I started creating a way of being, a way of living, a way of looking at how do I want to invest my energy. And it's amazing to me. My son and daughter-in-law nearby, we love creativity, and it's amazing to me how we sit and mastermind and brainstorm on how can we bring creativity in, and we should be doing that all the time. All the time
Yes.
we have to be working towards that. So if somebody's sitting right now, and I know there is somebody sitting here that is in fear, thinking, "Oh my gosh, can I go out? Should I go out? I'm scared to go out, or I cannot wait to go out," but there's fear around this. For resiliency, we have to walk through fear or at least link arms and make friends with it. What's one piece of advice that you would give somebody that right now feels completely wiped out or overwhelmed by fear?
Well, I learned, physician, heal thyself, right? People have asked me, what is the number one lesson that you learned? And I think this is really applies to all of us, which is don't go it alone. I talk about becoming a storm warrior in my book and how, I went home alone that night. I had boat captain, lawyer, I've been, a professional rescuer, I've saved lives. And then I wasn't even thinking about my own vulnerability because I just took for granted that I could handle anything. And I was
Mhm.
complacent. And that's a way of being that is not sustainable. And I'm, urging and imploring everyone to think twice before venturing out alone or facing these fears alone. We don't have to. And the best way and highest service we can be for others is to let them be of service to us
Mhm.
and recognize our own vulnerability, and asking for help when we need it is really the first step to becoming what I call a storm warrior, somebody who's
Mhm.
actually capable of serving the community, because we've got something then.
Mhm.
And the hardest thing in the world to do, to ask for help, hey, I just can't go it alone today, or today's a bad day, is, picking up that phone that weighs a ton all of a sudden. So let's find a way to be of service to others. What can I do for you is a far easier question to ask than, can you help me? And so starting with that, being of service, being somebody who shows up for another in their storms is the way to get what you need, which is someone to be there for you.
Mm. I love that. I love that. I think giving what we really truly desire or what we're missing in most
Yeah.
in our life at the time is such a powerful practice. Also, gratitude. I think that just practicing gratitude and noticing the things, like I have never been more grateful for rice. You know, they I've never been more grateful for rice than I am right now. And I look that there's, it's interesting, the small things, again, coming back to our friendship. I want to encourage everybody. It feels as though somebody right now is thinking, where do I start, though, to reach out for help? I think, you don't even need to know the people that you reach out to.
No.
Right into a community. The Amazing Woman Nation community, our campus community, is filled with incredible women who truly care about your success, your well-being. And that's a great place to start. Heading over to amazingwomannation.com is a great place. Actually, there's some resources there that is called the Amazing Woman Get It Done. What did I call it? Toolkit or starter kit? Amazing Woman Get It Done starter kit. And Christine, you have something in that is a resiliency challenge, or what? Tell me what that is.
It's the 45-minute challenge, and it is something that is part of a free gift that I'm giving to you listeners and amazing women. And it's really the ability to take stock of where you are with your business and your marketing and your tools, and a 45 minutes, how I find $10,000 in 45-minute ebook, and your very own customizable float plan that will get you through anything, that you can use this time to complete your float plan, to decide where you're going, how you want to get there, what obstacles are going to be coming up that we have to look out for, and let the people who depend on you know that you've got a plan, and share it with them. Let them come on board with you and use this to keep your business going, keep your life going, and to really come through and thrive.
I talk so much about creativity, and people ask me often, how do I keep creativity flowing? How do I access it? And I think a plan, like what you just spoke about, having a plan in place gives me that solid footing where creativity can easily flow through, because I'm not thinking about what am I going to do next, or what is that going to look like, or how can I move forward. I think it's great. So that's amazingwomannation.com. There's a link there that's called Amazing Woman Get It Done starter kit. You're going to see it. You can link through to it, and it actually has a lot of great offerings there that are all free of charge. Everything from Connie Pinturo has movement. I think that there's ebooks on there for nutrition. There's ebooks on there for finance. I have a program that is offered. Actually, we're doing it tomorrow morning, that you can also take part in, which is Supercharge Your Purpose, or Supercharge Your Power to Emerge into the World. And that's tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So it's still time for you to take part in that. That's over at amazingwomannation.com. I offer that free course about every 2 or 3 weeks. So if you miss this one and you're listening and you've already missed that date, keep an eye on amazingwomannation.com, because there's lots of good offerings there, a lot that you can do that's free of charge, and just, link arms with the community, because I've always said that the Amazing Woman Nation is filled with some of the most beautiful, heart-centered, entrepreneurial women that are incredibly creative and so giving and willing to share their resources. So jump in over there and just join us there. I think probably many that are online today with us. I'm just looking to see if there's any questions. A lot of people saying, hi, excellent, I'm watching. I'm so happy. Thank you. Thank you for joining in. If there's a question that you have on your heart or your mind, please join in the conversation. I think that, I give a lot of thought to what are we going to talk about on Amazing Woman Get It Done. And even the title, Amazing Woman Get It Done, felt very forward moving during a time when maybe we're very inward. And I was a little bit hesitant. And if I'm actually honest with you, I second guessed the name that I had picked for the series, Amazing Woman Get It Done. But the truth is that when we stay grounded and when we invest our energy in the betterment of our life, no matter what that is, we're actually getting something done, whether that means now I'm creating a practice for meditation, and now I'm creating a practice of journaling and writing, and now I'm creating a practice of joining in classes, and now I'm creating a practice of connecting with my friends maybe that I have forgotten to connect with for a while and I can't wait to connect with. There's whatever that is, we're getting it done. So Christine, if I were to ask you, what is it? If I said to you, amazing woman, what are you doing to get it done? What would be the number one thing that you would say?
I am creating collaborative partnerships. I have this baby I'm bringing out into the world, and what could be more exciting but also challenging than to create a bigger community during a global pandemic and lockdown? So that's my challenge, that's my joy, and that's my focus.
So good. So I'm just going to ask everybody that's tuned in right now, amazing woman, how are you getting it done? Write to us, add it in the stream. It's going to be posted on multiple pages on Facebook, and it's also on YouTube. So join in. Actually go over to YouTube and subscribe, because there's lots of good content over there. There's the Amazing Woman Live Symposium that we just did, which is about 6 hours worth of incredible inspiration from amazing women that are entrepreneurial in spirit and filled with incredible insights and encouragement. Lots of good stuff over there. So just go tune in and just be part of what we're creating here. I just love each of you so very much. Christine, thank you for joining. It was a great conversation. I loved it. And I'm so thrilled that we're connected and that you're my friend. Thank you.
Me too, you too. And thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.